The fourth major arcanum teaches us about the unique, self-conscious force existing in man and in nature, which is able to realize itself outwardly, that is, to take a form. Now, we come to the exposition of the great arcanum of magic. The classical definition of a magical operation, according to Professor G.O.M., is a decision of the human will, single or collective, exercised in order to solve a problem, the carrying out of which depends upon the activities of individualized beings operating on two or three planes. For clarity, I would like to exclude from this definition such normal everyday pursuits as reading, studying, professional occupations, scientific research, trade, and so on, which are based on a definite pattern and accessible to anyone who learns them from the official sources of human knowledge, which are open to all through the medium of educational manuals and standard techniques. Examples of magic operation. 1. Self-persuasion on a definite theme, or by the magician influencing himself while living on three planes, action on his solar plexus, and so on. 2. Suggestion directed to another man, again on three planes. 3. The acceleration or delaying of some processes in the elements, also influencing three planes, such as dealing with elementals. 4. Evocation of an elementar living on two planes, but which can manifest itself, according to the magician's will, on the third or physical plane, by mediumistic means. 5. The search for and the finding of an astral cliché, two planes, or exteriorization of the magician himself, that is, influencing elementars by the power of our own individuality, two planes. If a magic operation is performed on two planes, egregors, elementars, larvas, and so on, then even by the equality of powers on the astral from the side of the magician and his subjects, it will be successful only because of his superiority when acting on three planes. It is very important to note this, as it will explain many kinds of magic operations, which otherwise are hard to understand. In such a case, it is accepted that the person acting uses as his starting point of realization just the third, that is, the physical plane. It can be the body of the operator himself, or outer objects. From the definition of magic operation, we can see that there are three active elements in its components. 1. Mental, that is the idea of the operation and the necessary effort of will. 2. Astral, that is the form of the operation. 3. Physical, or starting point, such as realized symbols, physical development of the operator and persons assisting him, all of whom are living on three planes, and so on. In the previous lectures, we analyzed the unitary theories. Now, I have to stress the fact that we must also consider the mental, astral, and physical elements of all magic operations as personal manifestations of the soul mental origin, or beginning. That is the unique metaphysical axiom of the unique astral formation, or of the universal astral tourbillon, and of the unique physical method of choosing the starting point. Here, the mental start must generate the astral form, and the latter, in turn, must define the very physical process by the inevitable way of its condensation. In magic, this unitary connection between the metaphysical axiom, astral tourbillon, and physical method is called the Great Arcanum. Of course, we should not confuse it with the arcana of the tarot. The Great Arcanum, as a final mystery of the maximum of human power, is never communicated to his pupils by the master. There are some reasons for this which we can understand and express in words. 1. If the pupil has not discovered and mastered the Great Arcanum for himself, it means that he is not yet sufficiently developed on some of the planes, and therefore there is no guarantee that showing him the relevant techniques and theories will not be dangerous for the initiate and his surroundings. 2. The very character of the Great Arcanum is based on the element of a subjective understanding and realization. This is clear, If we are able to realize that our spiritual monads have different roles as cells of the collective cosmic man, they are just like different colors and tones. Moreover, our astrosomes differ and are subject to different planetary influences. Also, our physical bodies vary greatly between themselves. Therefore, any initiation into the Great Arcanum by way of outer explanation and commentaries will never free a man from the hard and long labor of assimilation of the given pattern, and of its application according to his abilities and conditions of existence on all the three planes. I hope that my efforts here to convey the cause of the deep mystery connected with the Great Arcanum have been well enough explained. What I now have to say about it is only a logical development of the definition of the Arcanum. The Great Arcanum, as with every other magic operation, must itself possess a mental counterpart. This means that the operator should be fully able to realize the general outline of the operation. In other words, things must be quite clear to him in case any apparition, no matter which kind of entity, might come into contact with him. He must know its origin, or, as Kabbalists say, to understand the marriage of every yod and hay in the mental plane. The key to this understanding gives us the great law of the ternary. This law may be represented by the graphical scheme of the Great Arcanum, giving the construction as shown in figures 13, 14, and 15. The mental part of the Arcanum, or marriage of yod and hay, which are will and consciousness, will give birth to its astral part, and this is the mystery of the basic turbalon, or the va, of this marriage. According to all authoritative, classic tradition, I am compelled to express such things in symbols, for there is no other way out of this problem. Whoever is able to see through it is by that fact ripe enough for the great task. Otherwise, the safety valve of the aspirant's insufficient development must perform its work by veiling the technical knowledge, which is extremely dangerous for unripe people when conveyed to them prematurely. Competent students, already acquainted with occultism to a certain degree, will surely see for themselves that in this book there are things which cannot be found in other manuals, but the limit cannot be transcended.